morning, everyone. There we are. Welcome to Talking Horses. Jonathan Kinchin, Andy Serling, on a nice Sunday here at Aqueduct. We wrap it up. We have a carryover, 26,000, I think 646. And last week, do you know, was only the second time since Saratoga that the pick six was hit on a Sunday?
Really?
Yeah, pretty amazing. I think it may be hit on this card.
I think so.
I could be wrong. There's some back-to-back short-priced horses that I'm trying to beat. And one of the horses we were looking forward to arguing about in the show scratched, and that's Bolt of Arum. There was a late scratch announced, which I don't think Chris had in the third race. The one LaGuardia is out. I think only JFK can run here. I think maybe JFK came in and said,
I got to tell you,
LaGuardia,
I usually fly JFK,
jurisdiction.
but LaGuardia is much nicer.
Well, LaGuardia, the problem with LaGuardia, it's great, is that it's not accessible by public transportation conveniently. Whereas JFK, for most of us, is very easy, and you can either take the A train or you can just take the thing to the air train. The train. LaGuardia was accessible by public transportation, and if you lived on the east side, it's particularly easy. But you live near me on the west side, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But it's good. But they fix it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, we got racing to talk about today. At some point, head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code bonus200. We'll match for $200 initial deposit. I'm just warning people. Eddie made fun of me earlier, so I'm going to be mean at some point later in the show today. I just have to decide when. Bonus 200. Check out track stats when you're over there as well, over at Naira Bets. Let's see where we're going here. Pick six carryover, 26,646. Very symmetrical. $5,000 hit and split. The late pick three, you want to opt in for that over at Naira Bets. And we are on from 1 to 4 on FS1 and 4 to 4:30 on FS2. All right. You know, I saw the Japan Cup. I was up.
Were you?
I did it for Wolfie.
How was he?
It's exciting. It's a great race.
No, but how was Wolfie? Did he look like he was doing all right?
Wolfie's the man. He's always, he delivers. He's always ready. Anyway, race number one. So I'm going to show a replay, which may or may not feel has any relevance to today's race, but I felt like it did. And this is Laurel River doing his best impression of Dubai Millennium. Why he ended up on the shelf for a year after this race, and apparently he's coming back. It's supposed to be the point of the Saudi Cup. Imagine this horse against Forever Young, Sierra Leone, and Fierceness.
Could be a fun year.
That's that would be some. Well, this horse will be put in bubble wrap, and we'll never see him. God forbid. He used to be with Baffert. This horse is a half to the number one Long Wave, which is why I showed this race. And I don't know. That horse will probably get bet because of it. Maybe it's good, but you and I have decided to go anti the Juddmonte Big Pedigree horse, and I'm very sweet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think this horse. I mean, it's an OBS purchase, so obviously there's going to be some talent there. You don't usually take slow horses to the OBS sale. Second thing, when you look at the siblings, there's like five siblings that all showed speed.
There are no slow horses out of the OBS
but I'm
sale?
just saying quickness.
What, are you on the payroll or something?
No, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean?
Here?
I mean, like, early speed. You know, show some quickness, some precocity, right? And if you look at the siblings, there's a horse called Canyon Creed, Francesco Appeal. They all had fast, early pace figures.
You left out the greatest named horse that's a sibling to this horse.
Which one? Sandro? Mucho Crow?
No, the Truth and KG. The horse named for Paul Pearson and Kevin Garnett.
That horse was good, too.
Yeah, that was probably the best of all of them.
I just felt like this horse is probably precocious.
If you had played poker with Paul Pierce, you'd have remembered to put that one in. I just guessed. I don't know anything about this horse. The one thing I'd say is the dam is 20, which always worries me a little bit. But there have been some relatively recent foals were good. I just picked this horse to take somebody else, figuring the one would be a short price, though David has in the morning line the 2 is the favorite. I didn't see much pedigree there, did you?
No, just a bunch of fast works.
Yeah, I mean, they paid a lot of money for the horse, and I suppose it could be a runner for Todd, but not a whole lot of pedigree. I agree with you. There's more pedigree, at least in the dam side, for the 5 to have some speed, and an $80,000 cloud computing. I thought the workout was actually pretty good, 10 1/5. Anybody else we should talk about? There's 2 Linda Rice. By the way, the single biggest upset of today's card, by far, is that Linda Rice has 9 horses entered and didn't scratch a single one. I think you could have scored out on that one, right?
What do you think the odds were?
Oh, they were big. Well, each one was 50% to scratch, so it's basically a half to the ninth power. So what's that? It's like 16,256. So it's about 500 to 1. Yeah, somewhere around 500 to 1. Okay, if you took it, you cashed. She's got a couple of firsters in here. The 3 Grand Crossing worked 10 flat. And that was OBS March. Are those not the good ones like April?
No,
That's
not
the
nearly as
sale.
fast.
It's
No,
good.
no,
Okay.
no, not nearly as
A lot
fast.
of horses worked fast at that sale. All right, we'll move on. Race number 2. I don't know about you, but race number 2 gave me a headache. Honestly, we'll take a look at Forward Move and Dillinger, with Forward Move running second and Dillinger running fourth. I can't take Dillinger on top. I can't take a horse, Jonathan, that's lost twice in a row at odds on. And I just thought Forward Move was the most logical one. But I don't really have a strong opinion in this race. I know the 2 is the main speed, but I don't trust Java Buzz at all on dirt or turf.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations where I just tried to. This is one of the clever, at least I think it's a clever opinion on the card. The rest of the stuff seems kind of straightforward. I just thought Laser Sharp, who had some okay numbers early in the 3-year-old year, comes back here with a little bit of like a
win 2 back.
yeah, kind of just a new face, and I wanted to have someone new in here because, like you said, I don't trust Dillinger at all. And Forward Move doesn't make me warm and fuzzy. This is just a grow up move for me. I'm hoping that Laser Sharp just improves with the 8 to 9 months that since the last start.
I hear you. I certainly thought about this horse quite a bit. I've never thought he was that good, but maybe you're right. He was a 2-year-old, early 3-year-old running those numbers. He has a right to improve. I'm always a big fan of John Terranova's. I decide against him, but I can certainly see your argument for him. I tell you what, I don't want Dillinger, even though I put him second on top. I don't want the 2, and I don't want the 4. So maybe I should have gone something like 3, 5, 6, but the 1 fourth. I guess Dillinger can win, but I don't know. He seems to be getting worse with every start, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just one of those horses that's like he runs fast enough numbers that put him right there, but I just don't trust him. He just doesn't seem to ever want to win.
He's a short price. I mean, this horse has lost in his PPs 12 races. He has 5 races at odds on, and the only one he won, he paid $260. The other 4 he lost. That to me, that's a massive negative sign on a horse. It's just a horse you can't bet at a short price, and he's 7 to 5 in the line. So race number 3 is the first of 2 straight races with odds-on favorites. You've got Cha Cha Ren on top. I have the horse second. Go ahead. I can't endorse Cha Cha Ren at a short price, but he'll probably win.
Just
He'll
a
probably
figure.
win.
It is just a figure thing for me. I mean, his last race was just so much better than everyone else's. You'd like to think maybe he'll take a step forward off of that race as well, just to assert. I mean, not like he's not a step forward in terms of he's going to become a stake horse. I mean, step forward in terms of he could run better than he ran last time. He didn't break particularly well, which is obviously a concern.
Well, he was badly forced in at the start, too, and he was compromised in the start, to be fair. That was legit trouble.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations where I wish there was another horse, but I there's nothing else that I trust.
I get it, and I don't disagree. He'll probably win and pay $290. I could never endorse a horse like this short price, but I don't think you're wrong in saying he's probably going to win. I don't like the fact that he was out. He didn't gain on anybody. He was outclosed in the stretch. He just sort of ran along. And my feeling with the 2, Dancing Dakota, is gets a rider switch, which I think is a positive. Last time out, broke a half length slow, had got stayed out, taken completely out of the race. So I do think he has a legitimate excuse last time out. Caught the sloppy seal track 2 back. And his numbers aren't that far behind Cha Cha Ren's. And he's going to be a much bigger price. And he's the only alternative I could take, because the rest of them, based on their races on dirt, can't run at all.
I wanted to pick him off of that trip last time. The hard part I had with it was that he was 77 to 1. So it's like you know what I mean? Like he had a bad trip, but I don't think he was ever gonna win.
No, he
You know
was
what I mean?
never, but he ran a little bit better than it looks, and I think
course,
his
yeah.
figures are close enough. So at a discrepancy of that, I'm going to take the horse. I'm not saying I think the 6 is I'm not against the 6. I just don't want to endorse the horse at a short price. And then you come upon Bernie and the Rose, and we'll take a look at Bernie and the Rose's last race, starting it out. And I think if he runs his last race, or she does, she's probably going to win, I guess. But I don't know. But she's run really reasonably fast in both the races. It's not like her last race came out of nowhere.
No, I mean she ran. Yeah, like you said, she ran well. She's got a little bit of a pace thing in here too, where I feel like she's going to be forward from that inside position. So I'm not really necessarily worried about her getting in some sort of trouble. I think she's the best horse in here. I mean, I wanted to try to make a case for the 2 and the 3, but something spectacular has to happen, I think, for them to beat that horse.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 is like one of the 2 is the play for last, one of these Maker horses. You go, oh, wow, they really bet Maker and they were right today. But I mean, that horse's win is an off the turf race with a 54 buyer. Didn't do a running last time. I actually am very interested in the 6 Grayson Grit. And we'll go back to her maiden win, her debut. This is a horse that worked extremely fast at the 2-year-old sale at Ocala. I think 9 4/5. Grayson Grit, the replay of the debut win. And I was always surprised that John Kimmel was adamant about the turf. Now, maybe that's a real negative. That maybe he's worked this horse in dirt and she's never really shown him anything. But the pedigree is definitely better for dirt than it is for turf. And the horse had a fast work. And now he's going to go to the dirt now the turf season's over. And it makes perfect sense. I'm not convinced that this isn't a horse that might be as proficient or not more proficient on dirt. So I kind of want to give her a chance because I think that she has some talent and I want to give her a chance. You know, she was taken out of the Miss Grillo and then she came back and I know she fell apart last time. I'm interested in seeing her on the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, she seems to have a little class too. I just, that was the big issue I had. You pointed it out. The fact that he entered her twice and scratched her off the turf, it made me feel like, what else is he going to do, to your point, with you know?
Right. No, I agree. That's a concern that Kimmel did not want to run this horse, and John was adamant about running on the turf. I think it was rained off once or twice in Saratoga, and we'll see what happens. But
I do like, she's tactical. She's drawn well. Kendrick's going to be forward. Like, there's a lot of things in her corner, but she has to handle the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, one thing is she's forward outside, so kickback doesn't become an issue. And I think a lot of the time that's one of the issues. But it's also about handling the surface, obviously, and we'll see if she can. If she can, I think that she can beat the favorite in this race. Race number 5, I think there's another big favorite here, and we'll look at Truly Warrior's last race. And Torpedo Run came back and ran a similar race for David Jacobson next time. I picked against, but she's once again, he's the horse to beat by a lot.
The only reason that I settled on taking Truly Warrior is because I feel like they're going to bet the 4, and I'm actually going to get an okay price on Truly Warrior.
Well, that's because Todd has those great numbers.
I set you up for that. I knew you were going to.
I'm such an easy mark. I am not against Truly Warrior. I think that he is a very likely winner of this race. But David's got him 7-5. I guess his odds depend on how much they go for the 4. If they go for the 4, then this horse could be 7-5. But if they don't want anything to do with the 4, Dave's got 5-2, which is a possibility, this horse could be 3-5. And I'll let you start with the 4 limits of power. I wouldn't bet a nickel on this horse. Not saying he can't win, but I wouldn't bet him.
Yeah, I literally wrote down must be horrible. For this situation to be happening.
$575,000 half to Yaupon. It's actually kind of more turf besides Yaupon. If you look into the family, Good Magic. Runs 2+ years ago, doesn't do any running. Joe Allen has subsequently taken all the horses from Shug and given them to Todd Pletcher. That happened, I think, early the year, late last year, somewhere in there. And now this horse is in for $20,000 off roughly a 26-month layoff.
Yeah, I mean, and the horse has been working, like, almost since August consistently. A little break in September till October, but
isn't it weird that Todd shipped this horse down to Palm Beach,
and then back,
and then he's shipping back up for this race?
Yeah, and they don't have a maiden claimer down there.
I don't know. It's strange, right? I mean, I don't know if it's a positive, negative, or what it means. We were laughing about some stats about Todd's recent success with drop downs. What I found interesting is that he has no maiden special weight to maiden claimers on dirt off a year-plus layoff. 0 for 0 in 5 years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I would have thought he'd have a couple of these, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I guess that means he probably just sends them home.
Yeah, they probably don't come back to the races off the year-plus. Yeah, no,
if that's what they are.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, listen, I'm not saying the horse can't win, and neither are you. He's just not a horse. I mean, you've got him completely out of there.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like Todd, like, blinkers on, Lasix first time. I'm
going to give Raleigh St. Clair one chance. What I think is interesting about Raleigh St. Clair is this is the first time since this horse's debut that this horse has been on a dry track. Now, I don't know that the worst race horse ever ran was on a dry track. On the other hand, I kind of wanted to see the horse on a dry track. He's dropping down the level he was claimed on. He's not fast enough to beat the 6. He's going to have to improve. And I'm going to have to hope that he improves a little bit for Jimmy Ryerson, who ran him in some tougher spots. And I just am not a huge fan of the 6, who's had his share of chances, but probably the 6 is going to win. If he doesn't win, I think, like you, Rally St. Clair is the other horse. I don't want limits of power.
I completely agree.
All right, should we take a break?
Let's do
I'm
it.
feeling a little taxed right now. Back in just a few moments.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back, Jonathan and Andy. After races of not betting the favorites, I have defaulted to the horse we'll look at here, and this is Running Ray, 3 races back. The one thing I'll say that's a little negative with Running Ray, why is Linda dropping this horse? The horse lost the rider in a $32,000 race. It was 6-5. Why would you drop the horse after that? It feels like she wants to move on, doesn't it?
That's what I did, and she hasn't really run that well. He hasn't, run that well for Linda. And he was an interesting horse, and he had won some nice races for Joe Sharp.
But his form was declining.
Yeah.
You're right, and I mean, even though the allowance race over, maybe a little overhead off the claim, the horse was 2-1 and ran a 79 buyer.
The thing about him is that if he could find 75% of his former self, he'll win this race.
That's why I picked him. And we'll see if Coffray puts some pressure on him. He's also a horse that's going to be forward near and everything his own way. I thought there was an interesting horse. I almost went 6-4 here because I do think the 6 is interesting. We'll get to him. But you can talk about JJ's Joker.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. I thought the pace scenario could set up okay because horse should work out a nice trip. I think Michelle does a great job. He comes off of
Is
trainers.
Ten Strike involved in this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe, but the name, I didn't see
It's
the name.
not going far enough on my PP.
Yeah, mine either. It cut me off.
we have-
Let's assume
Do we
possibly.
have to drink some of this spring water because
Yeah.
we said 10 strike?
Um,
I agree.
yeah, and we've talked about this before. This idea that claiming from bad trainers is an opportunity to move them up. I actually prefer when horses get claimed from good trainers.
I agree with you, most likely to hold their form. I didn't include the horse. I guess I could have. I don't know. I had him 5th. I could have had him higher. I certainly think he's not impossible here. I thought the interesting horse in this race is the number 6, All About the Money, who's very hard to trust. We're going to show the race where Bold Victory got beaten a nose. The horse that ran an amazing race in here was All About the Money. I mean, that was a blistering pace that just completely and totally incinerated. And this horse doesn't, he's the horse in front right now. Bold Victory is going to end up coming on the outside and losing by a nose, the horse coming up the rail. This horse doesn't get caught until like 50 yards to the wire and only gets beaten a length. Take a look at the charts at where the horses that were forward in this race finished. This horse ran an outright remarkable race. And if it wasn't a rider and a trainer that you're not inclined to pay much attention to that don't win very often, you would love this horse out of that race. And then they made the mistake you make, which is they ran him in a spot he couldn't win in his next start. They got overly ambitious. Well, now he's in a spot where he can win. And I'll tell you something, I think if he can run that race, he has a chance here at a price. And I'm not sure he's going to be as low as 8-1.
And it almost makes sense why they ran him there the way he ran. He ran so well in that 20 that they tried him in the starter. They didn't want to lose him. And now I think they had to kind of get realistic. No, I mean, it makes total sense for sure.
Yeah, no, I thought that race made him a little interesting in there. I mean, I tell you what, I certainly don't want Bold Victory now. We don't pick him and he's 10-1. But, I mean, I guess first glimpse off the train, there's a lot of horses in there that have a chance to get a piece. I just hope the reasonably good running race shows up.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to if you like All About the Money's performance, then you can't like Bold Victories.
No, no, no. If you're going to take somebody out of that race, you've got to take All About the Money. Connections being what they are. Race number 7, Bolt of Arum. I had talked to Wolfie about the show about this horse, Wolfie, because we like to talk about one-number horses, and he was a very interesting one. Well, he's not going to play in here. So where'd you go?
Yeah, I mean, I
Illogical.
just for the record, I was a single man here with this horse. I thought the horse ran really well last time.
He did. He ran huge.
2,
I just
4,
don't know
5,
where it
6.
came from.
I mean, I guess Surveillance now just kind of inherits. I had the horse second, so when the scratch came in, I added him there. You'd like to think he'll take another step forward. He hadn't run since previously since Saratoga, and now he's back in here. I don't know. I thought this was a wide open race now that the one was gone.
Yeah, I don't disagree that Surveillance is kind of the horse to beat in here. He's run some races. He was over his head last time. I have no problem with that. I'm not a huge fan of the 3, who I have third, who's certainly not impossible in here. Bramido, the lack of speed for Bramido really bothers me. There's just not that much speed in here, and he's a little slow. But he did improve in sprints for Linda, to be fair. I'm going to take Full Moon Madness. We'll take a look at him. I don't love these layoffs. Michelle Nevin's numbers off of layoffs, 250-plus days in the dirt, they're not that good. She's 4 for 27. Her horses often need a start. I've always thought this horse had some talent, and he really put it together last time, but obviously something went wrong. And after being laid off for, over 9 months, now he's laid up again for closing in 11 months, and those kind of things worry me. But I felt like he's got speed. He's a new gelding. If he runs his race, he can win. I didn't really know what to do in this race, Jonathan. I don't disagree that the 2's the worst to beat. I know you scratched into him. And I was just worried about the lack of speed for a horse like Bramido.
Yeah, I mean, this makes the pick 6 more expensive, where I feel like you got to have like 4. I need 2, 4, 5, 6.
It's a very hard – I mean, Ridgewood Runner is a tough horse to make in here. Other than that, I wouldn't be shocked by any of the other 4 in that race. I agree. And I don't like or particularly dislike any of them. No. I don't have a great hierarchy.
I don't necessarily need the 3, but
yeah, I agree. I've got him third. I probably should have been 4, 2, 5, 3, but I don't know why I ended up going in this direction. Maybe.
Where did you have the one at all initially?
Third.
Third.
I wanted to bet against the one. I hear you. If the one ran his last race, he was going to win.
Yeah.
I don't have any argument with that at all. I just I don't like one-number horses that are short prices. But obviously his last race was very, very good. Race number 8, going a mile. I thought this was kind of a mildly interesting race. We'll take a look at, we'll look at Winnett, who I have. We're going to show the start of Winnett's last race and then the finish, where, Winnett just does as usual. He gets left about a length, but I've never seen him take himself out of a race this much. Now, to be fair, they were moving up front, and I'm guessing that Kendrick decided, I don't want any part of that. And the one thing that's interesting is a lot of times when he's gotten left, and I imagine Kendrick was aware of that, he's kind of rushed up after that. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Kendrick realized that if you do that here, he's going to get nothing. And so he waited patiently, and he made a respectable run. I've always liked this horse. I like that he breaks more towards the outside. Maybe it'll help him break a little better. I've got a thing for this horse. I think he's a pretty good horse. And when his main competition, how do you pronounce it? Is it Tabagosh?
They said it earlier.
What is it?
They said it earlier. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's some thing I should probably figure it out. I do it every time. I just feel like, as we'll go to a replay of him in Instant Coffee, he just doesn't win, Jonathan. That's my problem with the 5 in this race. He just doesn't seem to win races. And when your trainer's Brad Cox, and he's been pretty short prices in a lot of races, you're supposed to win more often. When guys like Chad and Chad Brown and Brad Cox, and when these guys have horses that are short prices, they win. And every time they lose the short price, it's like a black mark to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, his figures just put him
He's the worst to beat.
They put him in the mix, and this is the type of horse I'm certainly not getting knocked out of the pick 6 by.
No, I would never take a big stand against him. Yeah. It just worries me that he's probably the most reliably best horse in here. And listen, he lost to Law Professor, Phileas Fogg. That was a big gimmick speed track. Cook Creek was a flying pea horse. You can go through and you can find reasons. And I mean, I don't like Costa Terra in here. He won a race with an absolutely great ride by Irad, coming up the rail, a perfect trip behind speeds. He's not really a winning type. And I feel like with the 5 and 6, they probably sit behind Disarmed, who looks like the speed. If you want him to wire the field, be my guest. But it just feels like a race that might be better being forward, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the 4 and the 6 both have, in their last 2 starts, both of them have broken slowly. I would have loved to pick one of them, but I just didn't trust them off of those 2 poor starts.
I'll give you a horse you and I are never going to bet, and part of it is the connections. But Instant Coffee finally actually showed up last time. And this is a horse that early in his career looked like he could be a Derby-type horse.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, this horse was good.
No, I remember when he won up the rail that day.
And I think it's important to note he at least showed some life last time. He's cutting back to a mile. I don't think he's totally impossible in here. I wonder if he can get round back into form.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the like you said, some of his big races were
There with Brad Cox.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And other trainers that win at higher percentages. But I do think it's interesting he at least showed some life last time.
Yeah.
And I've had enough of Sheriff Bianco, honestly. I mean, it just seems like he should have been there last time. The race fell apart. He likes a little less distance. He was bad. You've got Steve's horse, Thin White Duke.
Yeah, just this is a class thing for me that he could pick up some pieces.
I hope he can still run. He just hasn't been competitive. I thought the 9th race today was extremely difficult. And I'm not in love with the picks that I made in the 9th race. But I'll let you talk about for Squints, who's going after Tom Worley.
Yeah, I just wanted to try to give the horse another shot off of last time. I thought the horse would run pretty well throughout the early summer, and then just last time didn't run particularly well off of that break. And I'm just hoping that they maybe needed the race, can come back here. From a figure standpoint, those previous numbers all fit.
I agree.
It wasn't a love thing. It was just a...
No, I agree. I agree with all that. I just hate his last race.
Yeah.
And, you know...
You have to make an excuse for it.
The other thing, I think people need to be careful. He's not dropping. It may look to you that he's dropping because he's running for 35,000, but he's coming out of age-restricted 3-year-old races in the last 2 starts for 75 and 50. And now he's in against older horses. So I don't know that this is necessarily a drop-down for him. I guess you can ask yourself what you think of Ridgewood Runner in the last race. I mean, obviously, he wasn't being a horse like Proprietary Trade 2 races back, but his last race worried me. I think that Neuschwanstein, do you know what Neuschwanstein is?
I do not.
It's I will let you know, but Acacia is the one who taught me this. I don't want to take full credit for this. It's the Castle and Sleeping Beauty.
Really?
Well, I mean, a guy who's already, Thursday night, you went to see Wicked. You should kind of be up on what Sleeping Beauty is.
You're right, I should. Yeah,
You think that maybe G should have given you, you ever see the movie Diner?
No, I don't think so.
Well, next time it's on TCM, I'll remind you.
Yeah, shoot me a text.
People have seen Diner. It's one of the all-time great, there's a great part of Diner. There are guys growing up in Baltimore, and one of them's getting married, and he gives his wife a Baltimore Colts, a very intensive Baltimore Colts quiz. So I think she might want to give you a derp Disney quiz, and you should know things.
I can do okay with Disney.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Aladdin, I like, it's one of my favorites.
Really?
Yeah, I can do all right.
Aladdin's not bad.
No, let's go.
Yeah. When I used to have a girlfriend, I used to have to go see those movies now. I did take my niece to see Wicked, to be fair. Not that bad. I thought Neuschwanstein is probably the speed of the speed and is kind of dangerous in here. Don't you think he's sort of the logical horse? You've got him 3rd, though.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the turf race is the one that I don't like. It's the dirt races prior to that I think put that one in the mix. So.
Yeah, I thought it was 2 and 3 bags. Last dirt races are logical. Ray's a little chilly. Ray's Derby horse is running Friday, by the way.
Which one?
There's a horse running a good magic in the first race and running against a full to Charlatan that Stone Street has. But it's a horse, I tweeted about it last night, that was entered and scratched, I believe, in the I think something happened in the paddock. And Ray was heartbroken. It was his Derby horse, but he's back on Friday.
Really?
I don't know what Derby. It could be the Oklahoma, for all I know, but there's a Derby, and that horse is...
I got to say, the Derby Trail would be fun with Ray on it.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. No, I tease Ray, but I'd love to see the horse do well for him. No question about it, yeah. Anyway, as far as Augustine Red, I'm going to go back and show his win on February 19th, his last win. One thing that I like about him is that he drew the rail. This is a bad lug-in type horse. And I know he won going around horses in this race, but he wants to lug in, and a lug-in horse drawing the rail is a good thing because they find themselves able to get into a more comfortable position. And he hasn't now run, and I just wonder, you look at him, this could be one of those that Linda said, he has run 11 races with no break whatsoever. Why don't I give him some time and bring him back for the winter? And I could be wrong. I'll ask Linda, actually. I'm curious about that. But it has the feel of one of those, he's just, I'm just going to run him into the ground at some point. Let me give him some time and bring him back. And all he's got to do is improve a little bit off some of those races. And I like that he drew the rail, so we'll see.
Yeah.
He is a goofy horse, though.
He's your far bridge theory.
Oh, the rail. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is true. If you have a lug-in horse, you want them to draw inside.
Of course.
And he's definitely a lug-in horse. Anyway, it was a pleasure. We'll be spending a little time together. You're on
I'm
early,
on
but I think
early.
we're
I think
on
you
for
come-
about
yeah.
50 minutes together. But thank you for watching. Head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code BONUS200, and we'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Then check out Track Stats. Get all kinds of information. That was a very weak throw on my part. My friend Steve texted me. He said, how could Jonathan not have seen Diner? He has no idea. You have no idea what I'm dealing with here. But it's going to be my job. You are going to, by the way, you're going to see Diner, and you're going to text me right away and say, I can't believe I never saw it. It's a great movie. Really, it's one of the most enjoyable movies you'll ever see.
Okay.
It's really, really. Mickey Rourke, and it's so great. It's early, very early Kevin Bacon. Maybe one of his first movies. And maybe after Animal House, actually. All right, Track Stats. We've also got a $26,646 carryover. Begins in race number 4. We've got a $5,000 hit and split in the late pick 3. Opt in for that over at Naira Bets. That's another reason to join Naira Bets. And we're on from 12 to 4 on FS1 and 4 to 4:30 on FS2, covering all of today's action. Chris Griffin is getting ready for 9 races and very few scratches. 2 scratches on today's card. LaGuardia, I believe, in the 3rd was added since the last chime. Anyway, good luck. Have a good day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.